Very good morning, students. This is your teacher Neelam Elawat, and we'll continue our chapter, that is Plant Kingdom, and this is our lecture number 2. In the previous module, we have talked about the algae concept. Okay, and we know that algae can be divided into 3 basic classes. It has 3 main classes. First is Chlorophyceaceae, Phaseophyceaceae, and Rhodophyceaceae. Okay, and we'll be talking about each one of them separately today. Now coming to the first, which is called Chlorophyceaceae. They're also called as green algae. Okay, dear students, and as the name suggests, green algae, this means they are green in color. So a few examples that I've noted here, that is your Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Spirogyra. So the body of the Chlorophyceae, it can be unicellular, it can be multicellular, or it can be colonial. I should say it is colonial because it exists in colonies. So it can exist singly, that is called, it is a unicellular, that is single cell. So the members of Chlorophyceae, they may be unicellular, they are colonial, and they may be filamentous as the Spirogyra. So 3 common examples of Chlorophyceaceae, which is called the green algae, Chlamydomonas, Volvox, and Spirogyra. Now coming to a typical structure of the algae cell. Now an algae cell basically consists of chloroplast. It contains chloroplast, right? It contains chloroplast, that is why it is green in color. And the chloroplast, mainly there are 2 types of chlorophyll. It contains the chlorophyll, that is chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. So these are the 2 main pigments which are present in the algal cells. And this chloroplast, it can be discoid. Okay, it has a shape like a discoid. It can be plate-like, reticulate, cup-shaped, or ribbon-shaped. So the chloroplast can have various shapes in different species. Okay, everyone? And most of them, they contain special bodies which are called paranoids. Right? They contain paranoids, which are storage bodies. So what are paranoids? They are storage bodies. They are used for storing purpose. So paranoids, they are present in the chloroplast. Now this paranoid contains proteins, and along with this it also contains starch. So यहाँ पर starch और proteins की storage होती है, and some algae forms can also store food in the form of oil droplets. So कई जगह पर oil droplets की भी storage हो सकती है. Clear? Now coming to the algae, as I told you that we can classify into 3 basic types: Chlorophyceaceae, Phaseophyceaceae, and Rhodophyceaceae. Chlorophyceaceae is called a green alga. Now this color green is due to the presence of chlorophyll A and B, which is present in the chloroplast. The chloroplast can have different shapes. It can be discoid, it has plate-like, reticulate, cup-shaped, or ribbon-shaped. And the most members of this particular category, they have a storage bodies, and those storage bodies, they are called paranoids, and they store proteins, starch, and some of them, they also store the oil droplets. And a green algae is usually covered with a rigid cell wall, and that cell wall is made up of cellulose and pactose. Okay, so the cell wall of the green algae is made up of cellulose and the pactose. Now coming to this, you can look at the diagrams. See, in case of reproduction, they can reproduce, like few examples I am showing in the diagram. This is an example of Spirogyra, as you can look into it, right? This is an example of Spirogyra. Then you can have Volvox, right? So they can reproduce by fragmentation, they can reproduce by asexual reproduction, and they can reproduce sexually also. They use 3 different methods for their reproduction. One is fragmentation, and as we have already discussed, fragmentation means the Spirogyra will break itself into different fragments, and from each fragment the new Spirogyra will be formed. Asexual reproduction is by forming the flagellated spores, okay, with the help of flagellated spores, and these flagellated spores, they are called zoospores. And then sexual reproduction is by forming different kinds of gametes. The male will form the male gamete, female will form the female gamete, and both the gametes then they will fuse to form the zygote. Now these gametes, they can be of same size, which is called isogamous. They can be of different size, which is called anisogamous, or they can be oogamous. So 3 types of reproduction is found in the chlorophyceaceae. So we can have vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation, and the sexual reproduction is by through flagellated spores, which are called zoosporingia, while sexual reproduction is through various types of sex cells, which may be isogamous, anisogamous, and oogamous, and a few examples that are listed here. And we have listed a few examples here also. Now next comes your Phaeophyceaceae. Okay, Phaeophyceaceae. And as the name suggests, it is called the brown algae. And you can look into the picture. I've given you pictures of some examples. Ictocarpus, Dictyota, Laminaria. They are the examples of brown algae. Okay, they are the examples of brown algae. That is Ictocarpus, Dictyota, and Laminaria. And as you can see, they are found in marine, and they are mostly marine. They may have a simple structure, right? As in this case, you can see they are filaments. So they can have a filamentous structure, as in case of Ectocarpus, and they can have branching structure as there is in case of kelp, and it can reach to 100 meters also. Kelp is also a very good example. Now in brown algae, there are various pigments which are present. So they contain xanthophylls, fucoxanthin, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, and carotenoids. So in comparison to the chlorophyceaceae, whereas only chlorophyll A and B is present, in case of the brown algae, the various pigments are present, and that is why they vary in color from olive green to the shades of brown, depending upon these pigments which are present. Okay. Now if you look at the cells of a brown algae, you can easily locate. There are food vacuoles present. Okay, so food can be stored in the form of starch or in the form of laminarin or mannitol. So आपका जो खाना स्टोर हो रहा है वो mannitol की फॉर्म में हो सकता है, laminarin की फॉर्म में हो सकता है, कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स की फॉर्म में हो सकता है. So there is a nucleus, and the plastids, you can see the plastids, they are in the form of ribbon shaped structure. जो plastids हैं वो आपके ribbon shaped structure की तरह visible है. Okay, and this algae is covered with a gelatinous coating of algin. Okay, it is covered with a gelatinous coating which is called algin. Clear everyone? So it contains a vacuole, food vacuoles, and food is stored in the form of carbohydrates, laminarin and mannitol. While nucleus is present, plastids are ribbon shaped, and the cells are covered with gelatinous coating of algin. Clear? Let's study them. So as I told you that they are referred to as brown algae. They are available in various shapes and sizes. They can be simple branched filamentous form, and they can be highly profusely branched, as in case of kelps, which can reach up to 100 meters. They contain various pigments like chlorophyll A, B, carotenoids, xanthophylls, and they give you different colors from olive green to different shades of brown. Okay everyone? And storage of food is mainly in the form of carbohydrates, laminaria and mannitol, and their body is covered with a gelatinous coating which is called algin. Now if you look at the body of the Phaeophyceaceae, the plant body is usually attached to the substratum. Okay, the plant body is attached to the substratum by a holdfast. Okay, then it has a stalk-like structure which is called stipe, and a leaf-like structure which is called frond. So it is connected to the substratum or soil with the help of holdfast. Then there is a filamentous structure which is called stipe, and then there is a leafy structure which is called the frond. And reproduction mainly occurs by fragmentation. As you can see in the picture, a small portion of the will separate, and then it will arise to form the new individual. And sexual reproduction is by again biflagellated spores. So sexual reproduction occurs by biflagellated spores, and the sexual reproduction, we can say again, it occurs by forming the various gametes. The gametes can be of same size, so it can be isogamous. Okay, if the gametes they are of same size, it is called isogamous. It can be anisogamous. If they are of variable shapes, male and female gametes, if they are of different shape, then we call it as anisogamous. And the third is oogamous. If female gamete is bigger in size and male gamete is small in size, and it is movable. Okay, everyone. Now coming to the third algae, which is called Rhodophyceaceae. Let's look at the pictures first. As you can see in the diagram, I am showing you some pictures of Polysiphonia, Gracilaria and Gelidium. And you can note it down, they are basically red in color, isn't it? They are different shades of red color. So your Rhodophyceaceae is called a red algae. What we call it as commonly? We call it as red algae. Okay, dear students, we call it as red algae. And the various examples are Polysiphonia, Gracilaria, Gelidium. Now if you look at the structure, they basically contain a pigment which is called R-phycoerythrin. Okay, this is a red pigment. Why the Rhodophyceae, they are of red color? Because they contain a pigment which is called R-phycoerythrin, and this gives red color to the algae. Okay, clear? And they also contain फ्लोरिडियन स्टार्च. इनके अंदर जो है फ्लोरिडियन स्टार्च भी प्रेजेंट होती है. दैट मीन्स फूड इज स्टोर्ड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ फ्लोरिडियन स्टार्च. Okay, food is stored in the form of Florinian starch. This is how it look like when it is on the various on the surface of the water. So this red algae, it is mainly found in the oceans. Okay, basically in a warmer areas. Okay, so it appears like this. इस तरीके का surface आपको नजर आएगा. Marine water में मिलेगी ये algae marine water में present होती है, and generally the warmer areas in certain areas where the water is a bit warm. Okay, now red algae, as I told you, this red algae is a multicellular, and some of them they have a very complex body design. Now this red algae, it reproduces vegetative by fragmentation, or it reproduces asexually by forming non-motile spores. As you can see in the picture, these are non-motile spores. So this is a asexual reproduction, and in sexual reproduction, the gametes, they will be motile. Okay, the spores will be motile. So you can easily note the difference here. There are no flagella, but here the flagella is present, so they are non-motile. So they will undergo the asexual reproduction, while they are you can say they are motile. So this will help in you can say sexual reproduction. Now we can compare all the three algas that we have spoken so far. Chlorophyceaceae, it is commonly called as a green alga. It contains chlorophyll A and B. Food is stored in the form of starch. Cell wall is made up of cellulose. Okay, and flagella are there approximately 2 to 8 in number, and they are present, either they are equal in size and they are present on the apical surface. Mostly found in fresh water, brackish water and salty water. Phaeophyceaceae is called brown algae. It contains all the pigments, chlorophyll A, B, fucoxanthin, and storage is in the form of laminarin and mannitol. The cell wall is made up of cellulose and algin, and the flagella, they are 2 in number, they are unequal and they are laterally placed, and they are also found in the fresh water, brackish water or salt water. Rhodophyceaceae, which is called red algae, it contains chlorophyll A and B and phycoerythrin, and this phycoerythrin gives a red color. Food is stored in the form of floridine starch. Cell wall is made up of cellulose, pectin and sulfate esters. Flagella are absent. So this is a very unique characteristic. So rhodophyceaceae does not have flagella, and it is generally present in the fresh water, brackish water and salt water. So I hope you can easily identify the 3 classes of algae. Okay everyone? So coming to your homework for today. First of all, you will make notes of this topic and you will read the page numbers. Not exactly, you will read page numbers 32 to 33. Okay, this is 32. So you will read the page numbers 32 and 33. Go through these page numbers, highlight the important points, read them very carefully, and if there is any doubt, dear students, you can call me or contact me on my personal number. And dear student, this table is the most important and it is the easiest way to remember all the 3 different types. So do learn this table. This is very, very important. Okay everyone? Okay, so that's all for today. See you tomorrow. Bye everyone.